Hello, 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 Rise and Thrive Together community. It is Monday, August 14th, 2022, and we are here with,
2023, sis.
oh my
Not two.
God, did you hear that? I just went
Yeah,
back a year, guys.
I heard it.
How about we're here in 2023? I might be stuck in 2022 with this year. But welcome to Rise and Thrive Together. Before we get into this really great conversation as we continue in the month of August and our special guests, I want to remind you guys who we are and what, like, really our mission is for Rise and Thrive Together. Because what we really are is a vibrant community. We are committed to educating and empowering and equipping you to get the results that you want through real talk, real actions, and real results. And how you can find us is on www.riseandthrivetogether.com. Go check out the website and reach out to us on info@riseandthrivetogether.com if you want to come on the show or you want to like collaborate with us. And exciting enough to say that you want to become a sponsor, that we already have shared with you guys our first and extraordinary premium sponsor, Hal Eisenberg from the Hal Eisenberg Leadership Academy. So lots of ways to connect. Make sure that you're listening, comment. Please, we want you to be here because the community is more than just Raquel and I. It's our community. All right, guys. So here we are, ready to go into August, continuing our topic. And I'm going to bring on one of my favorite people in my life, Dr. Raquel Stuart. Hey, sis, what's going on?
Hey, sis, what's happening? Before I bring Charles out, I want to give a shout out. I judged the Miss Newark USA beauty pageant on Saturday, and I want to give a shout out to the Miss Newark USA pageant and Alicia. She is the producer, coordinator. She's everything. Had a great time. Thank you so much for the opportunity to judge the pageant. I also want to say congratulations to the Queen, who is a person that has a disability. So how awesome is that she did not let anyone stop her. Her limiting belief, she sure shut that down. So it was truly a pleasure. Awesome experience. Thank you so much to the Miss Newark USA beauty pageant. Tonight we have a special guest with us, Mr. Charles Smaltz. Charles is a mind, body, and spiritual awareness facilitator, combining a lifetime of study with personal, group, and individual experiences of consciousness of the mind, body, and spirit. Over 30 years working as a hypnotherapist, counselor, and pastor, growing to be a workshop presenter, retreat coordinator, and community leader. With 30 years of experience as a manager, business owner, and consultant, Charles is also the host of Relax, Let Go, Be with Charles. Love to bring you on, Charles. Welcome to Rise and Thrive Together. We are so excited to have you on our show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So great to
Hello,
kind of see
hello.
you. Yeah, you kind of look like a puzzle piece.
I don't know what's happening there. There we go.
There you
Woo!
go.
He's
Woohoo,
back.
that's Charles,
That's
I'm
vision
everyone.
here.
in action right there in our
Absolutely.
title.
Right.
Vision in action.
So, Charles, we are so excited to have you here on Rise and Thrive Together. And as Red said, this month, August, is Vision in Action. So, Charles, tell us, I want to hear about your podcast, Relax, Let Go, Be with Charles. What's that about? What's happening? Because that's community oriented. And we want to definitely hear about that.
Yes. Can you hear me okay? Looks like I'm breaking up a
We,
little.
we can hear you. We just can't see you
Can't
because
see
you
you.
kind of
There we
like
go.
in the
Okay.
matrix. There you
I'm
go.
not I'm not sure what's happening. But
That's okay. We can hear
yeah,
you. That's what's important.
re- Relax, Let Go, and Be with Charles show actually started back in 2014. And in the key I live with in the inland northwest, I was doing some what we called Friday night spiritual nights, where anywhere from 2 to 4 times a month I would meet in different places, and people would come, and I'd do a guided meditation or a spiritual experience that we would all. enjoy together. And then I moved to the Portland area, and people were like, well, now what we do with Friday night spiritual nights. And then people I was working with at the time came across Blog Talk Radio and said, you can do Friday night spiritual nights from Portland, and people can just listen in their own homes or places, and you can still do Friday night spiritual nights. So that's kind of how we started. And the idea is occasionally we have shows where we do interviews with people. Raquel's been on the show a couple times, actually. And we did a show together back a while back where she played God on a show. We said God Calls Live. And then we do, a lot of the shows do have guided meditations, guided spiritual experiences, whether that's just relaxation, whether that's focusing on body, whether it's focusing on ego traumas, or it's something spiritual, like connecting with your soul self, or connecting with the love consciousness of the universe, that thing. So most of our shows contain that kind of meditation, and it's a full meditation, something anywhere from 15 to 40 minutes of a guided meditation. And I'm blessed to have the music, original meditation music from a longtime friend of mine, Elizabeth DeFrayas, who has been, I think, 20 years now producing meditation music using harps and crystal bowls and bells and sounds of nature. So it's really nice. I look forward to it. And we've been down for a couple of weeks because I've gone through some things with the dental stuff, but we're coming back tomorrow night with a special show called When Jesus Calls Me Home. And it's really, I'm getting a little emotional right now. It's an emotional show for me because it's sharing. A lot of my work has been with people that are going through their last stage of life. And so I'm sharing some of their insights and some of my own insights over the years of why are we here? And what is it, when we get to the side, what really matters, and to me, what that has come to mean and come to see in life is it's not so much looking at all the things that, oh, that was exciting for me, or great experience. It's how other people feel about us. How did our impact those around us? Did we make them feel good? Did we make them feel encouraged? Did we celebrate them? Or being human, we all have those moments where we said or did something that we know wasn't the best. And then did we take the time to go back and say, hey, sorry that this made you feel this way. Sorry that maybe in a moment of stress or a moment of anxiety or a moment of fear, I said or acted in a way that wasn't loving and wasn't beautiful, and that wasn't good for me or you. And my whole practice in life has been about bringing that love into being, loving yourself first. Because if we don't love ourselves, we're not going to love our life, and we're not going to love anybody else. If we love ourselves, if you love yourself and you love your life, you're going to treat yourself and everyone in your life in a certain way. And if you hate yourself and you're full of judgment, you're full of fear, and you're full of trauma, you're full of other people's messages about what you can't be, or you've been through, and sadly, many people have been through abuse, been through some really traumatic times, and those times start to define you. Take your power back. Define yourself. The whole journey from letting go of being a victim and being whole again is about not letting whatever happened to you define you, but letting your growth and your learning and your beginning to share that love of self with other people define you. Don't let the bad things in your life define you. Let your victory over victim as being a victim be what defines you.
Wow.
Love it. I just want to say, everybody who's tuning in, thank you so much. Your power right now and what you've just shared, I love the idea of how you're like this kind of beautiful painting that's sort of like energy. Like for me, what you're saying, Charles, resonates so much because I am someone who totally believes that we are all energy, and your message is so powerful that we don't get to see Charles. We get to see the love of who he is and the stand that he has and the commitment that he has for humanity, for all people. We've got Odelia on, who's been a regular, and she writes extraordinary books, and one of them is Forgive Yourself First, Love Yourself First, and Respect Yourself First. So she wanted to let you say, you know, hey, that totally resonates with her. It is 3 of her core like pillars of her life. And Susan Schaefer saying she's here, good friend of both Raquel and I, and is a regular listener. And I think Raquel, did you see Johnny? I think he was on there.
Yes. Johnny says vision in action. What really matters, what Charles was saying is what really matters. And that is loving yourself, and not so much you don't care what people think, because we are still human and we kind of do care a little bit what people think, but does that encourage and inspire and motivate you to keep going to fulfill your vision, or are you going to let that hinder you? And that becomes the difference, right? But Charles, you said a whole lot of stuff. One thing I want to cover is when you talked about those people that don't necessarily love themselves or don't know how. Excuse me. How would we get someone who does not love themselves, who's always beating themselves up or allowing others to just emotionally beat them up? How can we empower and equip them with the tools they need to learn how to engage in self-love? How do we do that?
Well, that's truly part of what my practice has been about, is working with people. And sometimes it's getting that person to take that step, right? And I do say that the best way we can help people is to live our truth and live our love, because they gravitate to it, right? They come to have so many people that'll come to. I did a little competition thing this weekend where I was a commissioner and an announcer for a little friendly friend competition that was going on. And people were coming up to me and they're like, Charles, you always seem to, like, this love comes out of you. And I'm like, I'm human. There's moments, catch me first thing in the morning before I've had my coffee. You might say that, but but even then we do the things, and they're like, I have people say, I want to be more like you, or I want to feel more like you feel. And I tell people by being in that love and being an example of it, living it, being it, that attracts. People get attracted to it. They're like, wait, I'm not feeling what you're feeling. How do I get there? What do I need to do to make that change? And then sometimes it's reaching out to people, right? Because I work with people. I'm working with a family right now that's going through some real trying times. The oldest son has been arrested, some bad things. He got in bad places. The parents struggled with drugs for years, and now they're clean and they're trying to be a new example to their kids, but they're going through all kinds of trouble. And, they've said, how do we get our kids involved? You know what I mean? And so they've had me come over and do a couple sessions at their home where the kids can kind of hear what's happening, and they're teenagers, and they've gone from hiding in their rooms to coming out and, can we sit here? Can we listen to Charles a little bit? And so it's like they got that, they heard it, they saw the experience, they saw what was happening for their own mom. One of the kids shared, he's like, my mom's so different. She's been working with you since March, and she is such a different person. I want to be a different person too, Charles.
Wow,
so it's like,
that's incredible.
Sometimes it's just being there and not saying, hey, you need to do this right now, but it's just allowing it. Hey, we're creating this space. You want to join us? You're welcome. And I do think it's hard. We're in a world where we can't deny there's a lot of hate out there, there, and we see what happens and in our world, when someone can walk into a grocery store and just start shooting people, that is not someone that's feeling any love in their life. That is someone that's had a long time of having a lot of self-hate, and you see it and you hear it. And I've even on the show, and I've had a few people say, because I'll pray for them. I'll say, friends, this is going to be hard for us tonight, but we need to pray for these people that are struggling so hard, because they're not acting out of who they are. They're acting out of a lifetime of judgment and hate and fear. And they have, we all learn, but I'm a big proponent of what we first learn in our lives if we don't take a proactive piece in growing, expanding our beliefs and expanding our awareness, then we run the risk of being that judgment or that fear or that abuse that took place. And I say this as someone who knows. I was really badly abused my entire kindergarten year by an older boy in the neighborhood. And that was a defining point in my life for a number of years until I did the work and took myself back. And so I work with a lot of people who went through some very traumatic, very rough times. And for all of us and the types of work that you and Raquel do as well, it's reaching out to all those people that we can't. And I do it to the clients I see, but I also volunteer for as many nonprofits and retreats and different things that I can go on that are for women that have been abused, children that have been abused, people that have gone through extreme traumas in the military, because those are the ones that need our help the most. And I really believe in the saying of Jesus that what you do for the least of these. And who are the least of these? Just watch what's going on around you. Who's being picked on? Whose rights are being taken away? Who's being, who's being attacked? Those are the people that need us, and one of the things that just recently came out, the director of the CDC came out and said, we have an emergency for trans African-American women in our country. Why? Because they're being murdered at a ridiculous rate. That's a problem. They need our help. You know what I mean? So whenever someone's there attacking a certain group or going after a certain group of people, those are the people that need us. Those are the people that need us to stand up and go, wait a minute, if I'm a beautiful and amazing person, so is everyone else. So is Raquel, so is Regina, so is the listeners. We're all amazing, beautiful people. And if we're different or unique in some wonderful way, let's celebrate that. Let's learn about that. Let's become aware about that. Let's join those people in their journeys. Yeah.
Wow. What did let me look at what Susan said here. You wanted to say something, sis? Can I get to
No,
Susan?
I'm taking a moment. It's super
Okay.
profound and really beautiful. So I'm just taking a breath.
Taking a moment?
positive
Okay.
for you all.
Take your breath. Susan says there's a lot of hate, but there's also a lot of love, which gets less press, but there's love. As they say, look for the helpers. I say, look for the lovers. There are many powers doing good. Look for them.
I was pausing on purpose.
Joanna
Can you hear me?
says, wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Joanna says, wow, hate becoming a public health issue. And Johnny, what you do for the least of those. Absolutely. He agrees with that. There's one thing I heard you say, and that was be an example. Because that is exactly what you were being for that family. And I know that's what you will be in your community.
Yes.
For those people that are being expressing or experiencing hate. And when I say those people, it could be anybody. Those people doesn't mean anything in particular. It just means those people that are being hurt, those people that are in need. You put yourself out there as an example and you show love to everyone. And that is incredible. It's also a very rare thing for someone to express and show love to everyone. So I absolutely want to commend you for that. And I know you're going to get involved and do some great things within your community because that's the person that you are. So I just really want to commend you and applaud you for that and say thank you.
Yes.
I do want to kind of go a little bit deeper, and because you said something that really resonates, and for many people, right, we're talking about, when we say hate, right, there's that pain that person is dealing with, and you said, okay, so you were, abused when you were my daughter's age, right, like in kindergarten. She's in first grade now, and then you went and did the work. So that's always an interesting question for me as somebody who's, we're out to educate and empower and equip people. So can you just
Well,
tell me
and that,
about what that is for you? Because, we all have, we're all coaches here. We're able to support people, but some people like, what does that mean? Like, if I'm somebody right now listening and I'm like, this is really hard for me. I resonate with the I'm struggling with the self-loathing, the getting down on myself. I can feel the pain. I've been through the trauma, but like, I just don't know. I just don't know what to do. And, you say do the work. What does that mean? So can you share a little bit more about that? Oop, I think we lost Charles.
We can't hear you, Charles.
Yeah, he's frozen.
So while Charles comes back to us, I want to throw that question out to our listening audience.
Thank
And
you.
what does it mean to you to put in the work? What does that mean? Because so sis, I'll throw it out to you first and then you can toss the ball back. So what does it mean to put in the work?
So for me, that conversation, and it's such an interesting conversation because we can kind of say, okay, get an opportunity to go speak to someone who you can go and, most of the time we throw out like, go see a therapist, go see a counselor.
Mm.
It could start that way. And, for many people that, who has really gone through trauma, finding that person to trust. So it's really taking that big, inhale and being like, is just sitting back and saying, who's that one person in my life that I can start having a safe conversation with, to come back and share what I'm going through, and then from there be able to see if that person can have a connection or a resource. I remember one of the first times in my personal life when my family was going through a really difficult time, I had somebody come with me, like a good friend come with me. We got permission because I felt safe with that person. That person had gone through a lot of things. I was in my early years of like high school. And, I didn't want my mom. I didn't want my dad. We weren't up to that part of that yet. And I was so grateful for that person who gave me that resource. And they allowed that friend of mine to come with me. And that was just the beginning of the work, right? The work was I needed help. And let me tell you, it was the community I was in that was like holding me deeper than I was even able to hold myself, and was like, I'm going to come with you. Like they made the phone call. They were the ones who asked the person, because I myself was just sort of really at that difficult time in my life. So that was the beginning of the work being done. And as that person lifted me up and kept like letting me know, how I'm not alone in this situation, and that many people feel this way. And I started to do some of the deeper work, right? Like that healing, like Odelia's saying, like loving my first, forgiving myself first. It was not easy, guys. And it was just like almost at the time, like resisting, but that community kept me going and growing. And so that was it. And then once I felt the confidence coming in through my vulnerability, it's like I shifted. I literally shifted from this woman who was super like disempowered and not liking myself to like liking myself more, and like I want a little bit more for that. Like Odelia saying, I'm responsible for my happiness, and that's a really, like women, like I started feeling good about myself and I wanted more of that. It's like when you have a good movie or something you eat, you want more of it. So that's what it was for me. How about you?
Wow. So you stole my answer. So I'm gonna say ditto. But the reality is it does start with you. It takes you recognizing that you want better, you want more. And then here comes the question where it's, but how do I do that? How do I get more? How do I get better? And sometimes that can delay individuals because they spend time trying to answer that question. And when you're finding your way, you can't answer that question yet. And you did something great. You found someone that you trusted to support you through this process. So that was absolutely an amazing thing. Hey, Charles, are you back with us? No. So for me, putting in the work means I have to recognize it. Yeah, I'm responsible for my own happiness. However, I don't know how to do that. I know I want it, but I don't know the how to get it done. And sometimes we want to get it done by ourselves, and you cannot. That is why there is community, because there's someone out there that you've seen who's just exuding happiness, someone that you trust, someone that you know is genuine, because people can look like they're exuding happiness, look on Facebook, but really not. Let's not do that. But you know this person is genuine and authentic. And Charles said something interesting. He said the little boy, for the family that he's counseling, the little boy said, I want to be like you. And that's so amazing. However, little boy, you can't be like him. You can be the best you that you can be. Okay. And our goal here is not to have people be like someone. You could admire qualities in an individual, and you take those qualities and you make them your own. I can't be Reg. Reg can't be me. And there's nothing right or wrong about it. It just is what it is. But we can be the best us. And that's where people need to be striving to being the best them. So if you are struggling, if you know, hey, I need better in my life, I want better, I deserve it. Your job, you've done the hard part. You've made the decision. Hey, I know I want it. I'm deciding. Now it's time to find someone to help you with that. And if you can't find someone in your community, you've got a community right here. We're a community. We're not a separate community. We're a community. You can always reach out and we can help. We can help. You will put the work in, though. We're here to help. We can't do it for you. And we've all gone through it. Everyone on this call, anyone listening has gone through something, and they've had enough. They got sick and tired of being sick and tired. At that point, there is time. That is the time for a change. And that's when those limiting beliefs are going to come at you like boop, 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 one behind the other. It's going to hit you like a boxer, just giving you some jabs constantly. Sorry, I had to use that analogy only because I do the kickboxing.
Oh, that's good. Our wonderful comments are coming in. I know that you can check them out. I wanted to say what Raquel just said, which is, that is what we're talking about, vision in action. So if you are somebody listening and struggling or having that hard time, but you are like, yeah, man, I really related to what Charles said. I really relate to what Raquel and Regina are talking about. Please, man, that's your vision. You see the happiness. You see the possibility of happiness, the possibility of joy, the possibility, I'm getting emotional, of like releasing the pain and being able to be like, yeah, I love myself again. Well, guess what? Then that's the action you take. Right. You're listening here. You're watching the replay. You've got your people. Now the action to take is just reach out.
Yes.
Reach out. We've got connections, resources. We have so many things for you. Then from there, we can support you along the way for you to choose the best steps for you.
Exactly.
And then the actions and your results will come out. Raquel has done the work. I've done the work. Charles does the work. And it's not like it's done. It is a constant. It is a constant. It is a commitment. That is why we're here. We have our own people in our lives, from accountability calls to coaches to you name it, constantly taking courses. We're out there. So I just wanted to say that really is vision in action.
Absolutely. And we've got time for one more. And I see Joanna. Ask the right questions. Pause, reflect, go deep, and be open to finding the answers. Read, meditate, and commune with nature to be inspired to change our perspective. That's great. I love it. Ask the right questions. Sometimes we don't know what that is. But guys, it's learning. That's what we're doing here. We're learning all the way. Even Reg and I, even our listeners who are seasoned coaches, it's about learning. This is an experience. It's not a lifetime. Okay. So Charles, we're so sorry we lost you guys. Reach out if you want to Charles. Listen to his show. I believe it's on Wednesdays. Let Go Be with Charles. He's an awesome, amazing person. And remember, together, we can rise and thrive. Till next time.